friendship, and self-discovery. These characters and adventures all come from the minds of your own children. The title of our show is Nyan Cats and Ninjas and Mermaids Oh My. Let me set the stage for you. Here you see a regular classroom. The chairs are set in a line, and the students listen to a very boring teacher giving a very boring lesson. And over here on the right you see young Suki. Her hair is dark, her clothes are dark, and her mood is dark. Suki is the moodiest girl in school. She has long dark hair that she doesn't like at all. Suki isn't feeling very lucky, so she pulls out her lucky shell that she got on her last vacation to Florida. The rest of the kids are too cool and talking amongst themselves, totally ignoring her. So Suki holds out the shell and drops it on the floor. And when it hits the ground, winds blow from everywhere. It's like a hurricane. Oh man, a big tornado. It's very reminiscent of the beginning of Wizard of Oz, which may be where we got the title from. So everybody else blows right off the stage. And Suki's spinning and spinning in this strange tornado until she collapses roughly, but gently enough that she doesn't hurt herself, to the ground. Before she can even gain her bearings, 3 figures appear. And out comes an octopus named Chouinard, a wolf named Grimma. They're very far in the distance. It is a long way. There is the fabulous wolf named Grimma. And an octopus named Chouinard, and a strange bearded figure. Now Chouinard and Grimma the wolf both begin to circle Suki. Chouinard looks Suki up and down, trying to figure out what's going on. Grimma the wolf sniffs the air. And once they get to their place and stop, Chouinard smiles a big grin and shakes Suki's hand, saying,
"You must be the chosen one." "I'm not the chosen one. I'm Suki."
And Grimma the wolf says,
"She's not the chosen one. Her hair isn't long enough. My hair is too long. It always is."
So Chouinard says,
"You must be the chosen one. We need you to defeat Nyan Cat and the Golden Dragon." "I don't know who they are."
And Grimma the wolf's stomach growls so loud that everyone could hear it. And Grimma the wolf says,
"Well, she can't be the chosen one if I eat her."
and Grimma the wolf rears back and time goes into slow motion, and suddenly a ninja appears, and he strikes a ninja pose facing the audience, and he pulls out a packet of wolfsbane, and he blows it into Grimma's nose. The ninja's so fast that even in slow-mo he moves at normal speed. And then he strikes a ninja pose, and we go back to real time. And Grimma the wolf sneezes.
Achoo!
And she sneezes again.
Achoo!
And she sneezes 2 more times.
Achoo!
And then she can't stop sneezing, so she's forced to run away into the distance. And Suki looked at the ninja and says,
Who are you?
and the ninja struck a ninja pose, and he yelled the first part of the ninja code.
Everybody get one.
Then he pointed into the distance. Everyone looked, and he ran away. And when they looked back, he was gone. And Suki asked Chouinard,
Okay, what was that?
That was a ninja. He saved everybody once. It's part of the ninja code.
and Suki asked.
Who are the Golden Dragon and Nyan Cat?
So Chouinard began a great speech describing the Golden Dragon and Nyan Cat with big arm gestures. And it was such a good speech, it was almost as if the Golden Dragon and Nyan Cat appeared on the stage. She described Nyan Cat, a cat with a Pop-Tart for a body that had a rainbow for a tail. And she described the terrifying Golden Dragon with its golden claws, sharp fangs and teeth, big wings, and incredibly long neck. She explained that Nyan Cat wanted to take everything that was annoying and put it on the internet, and the Golden Dragon was so hungry it wanted to eat all of the food in the entire world, which no one else wanted. And then when she stopped talking about them, it was as though they left the stage. Then she went on to describe one of the beautiful 2 mermaid twins, the other we will see later. And it was as if she appeared on the stage. The mermaid twins were beautiful, and they had tails instead of legs, and they sang a beautiful song that sounded like this. And they were the only thing that was keeping the Golden Dragon and Nyan Cat at bay. But Chouinard was worried, because the mermaids had a weakness, which was for things that smelled really bad. And when she finished talking about the mermaid, it was almost as if she left the stage as well. And once she was finished her story, Chouinard shook Suki's hand, took a bow to the audience, and she octopused her way into the distance. That's when Suki turned and noticed that strange figure standing there. She said,
No. I can't go. I'm alone. I
I used to belong to Grandma, but you scared her off, so I guess I'm yours now, kid.
But Suki didn't need a lawn gnome, so they had a bit of a tiff. During which, Suki learned the lawn name's gnome was Steve, and that she had to bring him with her. Steve agreed to help her save the kingdom and find her way home, so they shook hands on it and began their journey. So Suki dragged Steve along the hero's path for days on days, until they found a massive, beautiful palace.
Whose palace is this?
This palace belongs to Princess Peach, you know, for those Nintendo games. She's got something neat for your quest, but it says she's got an evil guard.
As soon as Steve uttered that immortal phrase, Sophie the supermodel ran around the corner. She was a supermodel that was beautiful but evil. She loved to stop people and had magical powers. She struck a model pose, and she yelled,
Stop!
and then she struck another model pose facing the audience, and she yelled, Who goes there?
Who goes there?
It's the chosen one, and a lawn gnome named Steve.
I'm not the chosen one.
Said Suki. And Sophie the supermodel struck yet another model pose, and she said, The chosen one.
One can't see the princess on orders of the Golden Dragon and Nyan Cat.
You work for the Golden Dragon. You're evil.
Yelled Steve, and he struck a ninja pose. Suki struck one too, and then they both struck another one facing the audience. Sophie the supermodel could not believe this gnome's audacity, so she drew in her supermodel powers from the air all around her. And Steve yelled,
Hi, Suki. I'll save you.
Then everything switched into slow motion. It was so brave of Steve to get between Suki and Sophie the supermodel, because supermodel magic is super effective against lawn gnomes. But suddenly, a ninja appeared. He was so fast that even in slow-mo he appeared to move at normal speed. He struck a blow towards the audience. And then he went up to the supermodel and started his anti-supermodel magic chant, saying, Eat a big lunch.
Eat a big lunch!
And then he said it even louder.
Eat a big lunch!
And then he yelled it at the top of his ninja lungs.
Eat a big lunch!
And then he went back and stood by the heroes. And everything went back to real speed, and Sophie tried to use her powers. But nothing happened, so she tried again. And then she looked at her hands, knew she was defeated, and ran away, giving the girliest scream she's ever given. It was very quiet. Models don't eat much. So then, Suki said to Steve,
Thank you for saving
and the
Steve.
ninja. And the ninja turned to the audience and struck a ninja pose. And he said the first part of the ninja code.
Everybody get one.
Then he pointed into the distance. They looked, and he ran away. And when they looked back now, he was gone. Suddenly, Princess Peach bounded out of her castle.
I'm free!
And she said,
You saved me.
That's not Mario. That's the chosen one.
I'm not the chosen one.
But your hair looks Italian enough to be Mario, and it's long enough to be the chosen one.
and Suki complained.
My hair is too long.
Suki sulked. She was often sulky.
No, it's beautiful. Oh, I almost forgot. You must take this.
And the princess produced a magical slice of pizza. It had been in her family for centuries because they'd been protecting it until the arrival of the chosen one.
This will help you breathe underwater. And also, you have to find the mermaid twins. They'll help you on your quest to defeat the golden dragon and Nyan Cat.
And Suki asked.
What about Steve? He can't breathe underwater.
She asked that because she was considerate of others.
I'm a lawn gnome. I don't need to breathe.
So the princess turned Suki around and made her eat the magical pizza. It wasn't very tasty because it had been in her family for centuries, but Suki struggled through it because she was tough. So the princess walked Suki and Steve the lawn gnome up to the front of the stage, explained where the mermaid's ocean was, and then sent them on their way. And then the princess backed out of the stage without turning around because that's how princesses walk. Now, we cut to the moon base of the Golden Dragon and Nyan Cat, because Nyan Cat can fly in space due to his rainbow tail, and the Golden Dragon has wings. And into the base enter Grimma the Wolf and Sophie the Supermodel. And they come down and ring the space bell.
Ding-dong.
And then they step into this light gray square in the middle so everybody can see them. And they ring the bell again because no one came, and it sounds like...
Ding-dong.
And in the distance, they could hear the evil theme song of Nyan Cat and the Golden Dragon. And they burst into the courtyard of their moon base. And Nyan Cat says,
Yanmu!
Sophie the Supermodel and Grimma the Wolf were confused, so they made confused faces towards the audience. Now, you may not know, but Nyan Cat is a language that consists solely of the words Nyan and Mu. But luckily, the Golden Dragon speaks fluent Nyan Cat. So the Golden Dragon turned her really long neck. And then she said to Grimma and Sophie the supermodel,
You should
Nyan Cat and I want to know what happened.
Nyan Cat and I want to know what happened. Why are you here? You should be going and guarding the octopus and the princess. It's not my fault.
Said Grimma the wolf.
A ninja came and blew wolf's bane into my nose.
And Sophie the supermodel struck a model pose and said,
It's not my fault either. The chosen one came and the ninja took away my powers.
Nyan Cat said very disappointedly. Then he used his internet powers to send Sophie the supermodel right to the internet to provide a warning for Grimma. And he used his magic and it sounded like, oh. And she was banished to the internet. So Grimma said nervously,
What about
the chosen one.
the chosen one?
And the Golden Dragon said,
We'll stop her with the toaster of tomorrow.
and then Grimma the wolf said, what about the mermaid
What
twins?
about the mermaid twins?
And the Golden Dragon said,
Well, I got a secret weapon that will stop them once and for all. I got the most rotten egg in the world.
the rotten egg was huge and invisible. And our villains came to the front of the stage. And they laughed, and evil laughed together. And then they laughed, and even eviler laughed together. And then they laughed the most evil laugh in the history of the earth. And then they skipped off into the distance, because evil people love to skip. But the Golden Dragon flew, because dragons fly, they don't skip, they're cool. Now, we travel back to the ocean floor, where Suki and Steve are swimming around. They're picking up shells because a dolphin and some turtles told them that they had to pick up shells to find the mermaid twins. So when they get across the stage and find the very last shell, and they pick it up, suddenly they could hear some beautiful singing. And beautiful mermaids appeared. The mermaids had beautiful fins and beautiful hair. One of their hair was black like Belle from Beauty and the Beast, and the others was red like Ariel from The Little Mermaid, but only like that because Disney has a great legal team and they're really okay with suing. So the mermaid twins looked down to Suki and they said,
Who comes to our bridge?
It's Steve, the law gnome. Alright, and just the chosen one.
I'm not the chosen one.
You could be.
No, I'm not. I'm Suki and I'm Millions from at school.
So Suki was in a grump again. Sometimes that just happens. So she sat down, and the mermaid twins talked and giggled to each other while she was sad, and Steve stood there with that weird look on his face that wouldn't go away. But eventually, the mermaid twins started singing. And they went over to Suki and they tapped her on the shoulder. And they said,
You can be the chosen one if you can answer this riddle.
I do like riddles.
She's the chosen one, I told ya. Long hair and she likes riddles.
Not so hasty.
So Suki stood up and started swaying back and forth with the beautiful mermaids. And they started telling her the most complicated riddle that's ever been told in the history of humanity. It involved tying knots, crowning kings, 3 different snakes, a horse, a sword fight, love, anger, and the YMCA dance. YMCA. And then they made Suki do the YMCA dance with them. YMCA. But she did it really non-committally. So that was the end of the riddle. So they asked Suki what her answer was. So she struck a thoughtful pose. And then she thought harder. And then she thought so hard she couldn't think anymore. And an idea struck her.
Eureka!
She would have yelled if she'd been born in the 1800s. But she was born now, so she just told them the answer.
False.
I probably should have told you the riddle was a true or false question. But Suki was right, and the mermaids agreed to join her quest. They shook her hand to seal the deal. And then they both shook Steve's hand to seal the deal, but it hurt his hand because mermaids have really strong grips and long gnomes don't. So the mermaids took Suki and Steve up to the front of the stage and summoned a magical bridge that they all went around. Even Steve, his very tall hat. Then they had arrived in the room with the altar of the quest, and the mermaid said to Suki,
Go and walk towards the altar and claim the toaster of tomorrow.
So Suki went up to the altar and she looked around. But she couldn't see it, so she asked the mermaids for help. But they couldn't find it, so they asked Steve for help. So they were all searching. They looked up. And they looked down. And then they looked at each other in case someone had found the toaster and hadn't told the rest of them, but they hadn't. So suddenly they heard the theme song of the evil Nyan Cat and Golden Dragon in the distance. So the dastardly pair closed in and they brought their henchman Grimma the Wolf, who was carrying the giant invisible rotten egg on her back. And Nyan Cat said imperiously,
Nyan, move.
And the Golden Dragon said,
Yes, that's right. We got your precious toaster and nothing can stop us now.
And the mermaid said, Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
And they stepped out and sang their beautiful song facing the audience. And you may not know, but music is the only thing evil people can't stand, so it forced all of them to back away until Grimma the Wolf yelled,
Use the egg, boss!
and the Golden Dragon took the egg, and the mermaids yelled,
The egg!
and they got back in line with the other heroes. And the Golden Dragon was about to throw it when all of a sudden everything went into slow motion, and a ninja appeared! And he struck a ninja pose towards the audience. He was so fast, even in slow motion, he moved at regular speed. Then he walked over and touched the rotten egg with one finger, and he went back to the rest of the heroes. And everything went back to real speed. The rotten egg exploded all over our villains. Oh, it was bad for the heroes, but it was horrible for the villains. Oh, it was the worst smell they'd ever experienced. Oh, it was like a 4 times a million. Oh, and Grimma the Wolf was so disgusted that she ran away and swore never to do evil again. But no bad smell could stop the Golden Dragon and Nyan Cat. So the Golden Dragon yelled. But Steve said,
Got to save them, Suki.
and the Golden Dragon said,
Oh, no, you can't. Nyan Cat, use the toaster of tomorrow!
and Nyan Cat started the toaster, which sounded like,
Ding.
and all of our heroes except the ninja started shaking. They wanted to move, but they couldn't. The magic was too strong. So Steve said,
Ninja, save us.
because ninjas aren't affected by the toaster of tomorrow. But the Golden Dragon laughed an evil laugh. And she said to the ninja,
Oh, no, you can't. Everybody gets one, and you already saved everybody here once.
So the ninja went to the center of the stage and struck a ninja pose. And then he looked at his friends. And he looked at the villains. And then his friends. And the villains. Friends. Villains. And then he made his decision and struck a ninja pose. And he said the second part of the ninja code.
Because one get two.
Then everything went into slow motion and the ninja took the toaster of tomorrow from the Nyan Cat. And he went back over to his friends, the heroes, and stood with them. And everything went back to real speed. And the ninja said, if you want her, you have to go through me.
If you want her, you need to go through me.
And Nyan Cat and the Golden Dragon laughed. And Nyan Cat said,
Nyan, move.
and the Golden Dragon said,
Yes, that's right. If you want to defeat us, you have to go through our fire bases.
Suddenly, a terrifying fire Pegasus appeared. They'd been training it in secret once they heard about Ninja's involvement. Ninja was scared because if you don't know, fire Pegasi are super effective against ninjas. Ninja knew he'd be destroyed, but he was brave anyways. Then Steve yelled,
Suki, use your hair.
It's too long.
and Steve yelled,
It's just long enough.
and the fire Pegasus gave a terrifying neigh. And Suki began to wave her hair back and forth, gaining her courage. And it created a magical tornado because it was so long and so Italian. And then the tornado blew forward and it blew all of the fire off of the fire Pegasus. And the fire Pegasus looked down and realized it wasn't on fire anymore. So it was just a regular Pegasus. And that meant it didn't have to do evil because regular Pegasi love everything. So it ran towards the Golden Dragon and Nyan Cat to give them a hug. But they ran away. So the fire Pegasus came back. Now just a regular Pegasus, put on its head, which fall off when Pegasi get excited. And then it went and gave Suki a hug, making it not on fire anymore. So then all of our heroes came to the center of the stage. And the mermaid said to Suki,
You saved us.
and the ninja went down on one knee and gave Suki the toaster of tomorrow. And Steve said,
Suki, use the toaster of tomorrow to save the world.
so Suki started the toaster of tomorrow. And air was coming from everywhere. Oh man, it was like a hurricane and a tornado, right like the start of the play. And everybody who had to do a costume change went backstage. Anyway, and she was out here, and you couldn't even believe it. So there was like strange houses, a weird old woman on a bike with a dog and it laughing maniacally around the back. And like everything was starting to settle back down, and then everybody was back in the classroom from the beginning. And Mrs. Balderdash asked,
Sookie? Sookie, do you know the answer?
and Suki woke up. Where was she? This wasn't a magical land. And Mrs. Balderdash asked again.
Sookie, do you know the answer?
Well, there was no law known here, no mermaid twins, no ninja. Well, she was back home. She still felt special because she was the chosen one, but would she be foiled by not knowing the answer to this question? But then Tyler, on the other side of the room, raised his hand and said,
The answer is Abraham Lincoln.
That's correct. Thank you.
and then Tyler looked over at Suki, and everyone struck a ninja pose. The end. So that was the story that we all wrote, but individually the cast are
Barbara.
Corey.
Faith, Tyra, Lucy, Lynn, Natasha.
Megan.
all right, and take a bow for your fantastic